Welcome visitors to this French family residence. A dash of luxury and a sprinkle of fancy, this Hotel Particulier can accommodate the whole family. With its two spacious bedrooms, one for kids with lots of toys and fun activities, and one for adults. A living room with fireplace and desk area, and a kitchen and eating room with a special corner for meats. Not to mention the basement cellar, where the most delicate wines are stored, as well as cheeses and herbs. This place allows for outdoor activities in the private gardens, such as gardening, arranging flowers, or reading on the outdoor benches while the breeze slowly blows during a summer afternoon. You can also ride a peaceful lux as it pulls the carriage around. Just don't peek too much into the rooms under the roof where many, maybe too many, things are stored, as you might find some hidden stories there. Joke aside, this French summer house was a build request by one of my viewers, which I built in creative, using mods such as Gizmo for extra rotation, plant everything for extra bushes, and more Vanilla Prefabs for some special items. I had this idea in mind, a very French type of build called a Hotel Particulier, which was something that I had seen in the past in real life. So let me show you around how I built some of the details and the tricks that I used. The layout is really simple, a rectangle. Seen from above, you can notice the building itself is just a rectangle shape. The staircases, chimneys, and terraces being extra additions to the initial rectangle. I wanted the facade to have some architectural details that I could only imitate with Groston. The corners of the building are actually made of piled up Groston slabs with an extra slab every meter. To make this work, I used the snapping points of the thick Groston pillar and placed another slab halfway on the side. This way the corners look decorated, but does not protrude that much on the side. The entrance staircase, which widens as you go down, was made using Groston slabs and beams. These stairs were especially difficult to make, since I had to increase the amount of rotations with Gizmo to get a smooth curve. This also resulted in a few mistakes and miscalculations, so it's still not perfect. The main technique was placing the lower slabs, then going up one layer at a time, pushing them backwards by 0.5 meters, using the thick pillar snapping points and turning them slowly at the edge. Then once the slabs were placed, I snapped beams on the lower part of the slab so the character can actually go up, much like a normal stair. The build is raised on a sort of platform where the stairs go up. This type of building often had a basement with a wine cellar or storage area, hence the raised floor. We'll go back to the inside of the basement later on. On the top of the build, there is a roof with dormer windows, allowing for extra rooms under the roof. This would usually be the rooms of the servants in the past. Nowadays they are used as extra rooms or storage areas. The dormer windows are a series of arches placed at 0.5 meter distance, thanks to the snap points of the Groston thick beams. So the facade is made mostly of ash wood, placed slightly inwards using free placement to give the wall a little bit of depth. There are some windows with frames made of Groston small pillars and slabs. Since wood can't support the stone, to make this stable I actually placed metal walls inside the ash wood walls capable of supporting the Groston stone frames. A nice little trick that helps with the stability of both the windows and later the roof work. This facade was the same on all sides of the building, with the same window frames using Groston and copper. The front pops out a little bit in the middle with some extra corner slabs. This gives a little bit more depth to the build, much like the corners, and makes the shadows and light effects more interesting to see. It also makes the entrance stand out a little more than if the wall was flush with the rest. On the second level windows, I also added these tiny little balconies, which are actually pretty common in this kind of buildings. The middle beams are placed with free placement, so only one horizontal bar shows above the Groston balcony platform, which is a short wall rotated to be placed horizontally. As for the back, where there are two staircases going down on each side, in a much simpler manner than the front staircase, I decided to add an extra terrace on the second floor overlooking the back garden. On each side of the building, there are chimneys, and I can tell you, getting the smoke out of these chimneys was quite a challenge. Smoke is incredibly thick in this game, so they actually protrude outside, but also take some space on the inside, because the smoke didn't have enough space. In the end, them poking out on the inside rooms actually worked really well. So when going inside through the main door, what greets you is a staircase uniting all the different rooms. This is actually a pretty common thing in this kind of houses. On either side of the staircase, on the main floor, there are living and dining areas, each with a chimney. The back of each room leads to the corridor leading to the back door into the gardens. The living room has some trophies on the walls, a bookshelf made of ash wood, where I placed both item stands and signs to resemble books, some of them being rotated sideways using Gizmo. I also added some wood panels at the back of the bookshelf to make it less steep, placing them slightly forward. To top it off, I added some decorations like the Dverger lamps from the more Vanilla Prefabs mod, and also some potions with the serving tray. The custom chair at the fireplace is just a couple of ashwood panels and some stools for sitting. Some other items in the living room also come from the more Vanilla Prefabs mod, such as the small chairs and the coffee table, but also the chest, shelves, and cracked red pot. The desk at the back, which is custom made with ashwood dividers and small floors, has what would be a book and a quill to write letters. The book is a couple of vertical item stands rotated with Gizmo so it looks like an open book, and the quill is a celestial feather from a fallen Valkyrie that I placed on an item stand on the table. In the kitchen area and dining area, there is of course a round table with chairs and some food placed on the table next to a chimney. At the back there are barrels of meat as well as other chests that are made available by the more Vanilla Prefabs mod. The rustic kitchen cabinets are made with some extra shelving assets in the game that are also made available by this mod. They hold flour, jam, fruits and other basic goods, again very low tech. A small stove made of rotated iron walls, where I placed some soups as if they were cooking. This kitchen is completed by a cellar in the basement. There are several shelves made of grout stone walls and small slabs. Here all sorts of beers and cheese wheels are stored in rustic shelves. The cheese wheels were actually archery targets facing down, so only the back shows, as well as ashland feasts and other small dishes also facing down. The herb shelf holds spice racks rotated horizontally, as well as Yule decorations and ingredients such as the fragrant bundle and the seaweed placed on stands. The other side of the basement has more shelves for storing all sorts of barrels, some available in the game like the meat fermenter and some only available via mods but existing in the game, like the smaller barrels, which are actually found in the Black Forest towers sometimes. Moving on to the upper rooms, the stairs lead into 3 separate doors, 2 of which lead to rooms. The middle one opens into a small toilet area where I placed a sink made of wisp lamp holders from the Mistlands and handles made of brown mazes. The toilet itself is just a Dverger chair. Each bedroom has a fireplace, but since I could not add another campfire because of the smoke issues, what I did is place some item stands with Surtling trophies. Those give off the effect of fire without the smoke. So the main room has a nice bed, some seating area and also a custom open dresser. The feet of the dresser are actually stools and the thin side panels are actually signs. This gives it a nice, modern yet rustic look. The children's room on the other side comes with some areas for playing, a chest for storing items, a tiny table for drawing with crayons, and on the opposite side there's a custom table made of pre-placed ashwood arches. On this table, an open book, much like the one in the living room. Both rooms are very spacious and are connected to the corridor at the back that leads to the balcony overlooking the garden. On the last level of build, under the roofs, I transformed the whole area into a storage, with some boxes also available via the more Vanilla Prefabs mod, as well as some silly decorations. A skeleton on the floor, a tankard, a pile of bones, and an inactive bathtub. You can use your imagination to tell the story that unfolded here. Going back outside and into the lush gardens, where I used Plant Everything to place down small fir trees, different sized bushes, and also fiddleheads and berry plants, trying to mimic what flowers would look like in a vibrant, almost British garden. There's a giant cart on the side that I placed again with the more Vanilla Prefabs mod, and the locks on the other side as if it could pull a cart. Some extra items like vases, the burger lights sprinkled here and there. So yeah, that is the tour of the fancy French house with private gardens. I think it took me in total about 10 hours to do this build, including 2 streams and some extra work afterwards, doing some finishings in the basement and under the roof, as well as adding some extra details in the rooms. I can't express how beautiful I think the building looks and how close it actually comes to mimic many buildings that I've seen in the past and that have this kind of appearance and layout. I think it worked really well combined with the gardens that are only made possible by the Plant Everything mod. Yet another dive into modded building as I slowly get to know these mods a little better. I hope you liked this build and this little tour, and if you did, remember to give it a thumbs up, and as usual, catch you in the next build.